for that particular session that is going to change your status. As far as Islam is concerned, you can do a lot and a lot in the cycle of marriage. But as long as you have not done this, you are not married. You can donate a lot of gifts. You can show a lot of love. You can show a lot of commitment. But as long as you have not done this particular session, you are not married. You know, this change of status is so significant. Some people might just take it for granted, but it is not. Some time back, I was reading about a book entitled What All Married People Should Know. And there came a story. Of course, it was written by a Western author, a non-Muslim for that matter. That author narrates a story of a man and a woman who fell in love. And you know, according to their Western culture, they can have cohabitation. They can have, I don't know, they call themselves the concubines and so on. So they dated, they cohabited for 7 years. By the time this gentleman fell in love with this particular woman, the woman had produced 3 children from a previous marriage. So they fell in love. The man is single and he has never produced any child before, but the woman has 3 children. Now what happened is that they dated or they stayed in cohabitation for 7 good years. And those who were seeing them, they were seeing love at its maximum. Can you imagine moving out together? The man showing a lot of care, a lot of love to the 3 children, despite the fact that they are not his biological children, until 7 years when they were satisfied and said, now, I think we are convinced that we can make a good couple. They went to the church so that they can make their marriage official. And indeed, they did that. Immediately after making this commitment before the clergyman in the church, their marriage did not stay for 1 year. Now just imagine, what's the problem? 7 years of cohabitation, they have been dear ones. But just they couldn't complete 1 year in marriage. That is what it means to have this kind of commitment. And that's why you are aware. Some people can actually show you a lot. They can show you the world because they are still living in the fantasy of boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. But my dear, I must warn you seriously that before this commitment is made, don't trust anybody. People change just because of this status. You find out that the too much love, the too much care that has been showing, after this commitment, it is no more. Yet, actually, it would have increased. So this is how significant this session is as far as Islam is concerned. Another point, which actually indicates the significance of this session, is that it is a session that is witnessed by Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of the witnesses to that contract. Just to reflect, just to contemplate about what it means that you are in a contract whereby Allah is a witness to it. It might be one of the reasons why this is called mithaqan ghalidha, because it is witnessed by Allah himself. It must be the reason why among all places on this world, many people prefer that the marriage session should take place in the mosque, which you know that according to the prophetic hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ahabbul biladu ilallah al-masajid." The best place on this earth before Allah, it is the mosque. So you choose that your session is done in the mosque, because this is Baytullah. It is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is Baytul Rahmah. It is a house of mercy. And therefore, if you choose your marriage session to be concluded from there, it should have some moments of reflections. after this session had been completed, and you are now husband and wife, think about that commitment you made before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is how significant this commitment is. Number 3, this is the moment of contract signing. You know, those of you who are in the business world, you do a lot of paperwork before you could sign a contract. But I have seen people on the day of signing a contract, even changing their outfit. You choose the best suit because you are going to sign a petroleum contract. You choose the best car because you are going to a certain spot, to a certain place where you are going to conclude a contract. What about this commitment? It is a commitment that is going to lead you to append your signature that I have accepted to go into relationship with so and so. And therefore, this point should be much, much noted, especially by my dear sisters. Some of them decide to spend a lot of time in cohabitation until when time runs out. And you know, as a result of familiarization, when you stay long with a man, shaitan happens to deceive you that you are married. And therefore you become contented with that status quo. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings the ajal, this man dies. As far as Islamic law is concerned, you are not married. And therefore, you are not entitled to his inheritance. And therefore, you are not entitled to this and that. So this is how significant the marriage session, the nikah session is. It is after this session that you can demand for your rights. It is after this session that you are also obliged to do certain responsibilities. Before this, you don't have a commitment. This session is so important that it is a line between halal and haram. This is the line between halal and haram. Before this is concluded, any kind of physical interaction, sexual relationship that you have with someone, that is haram. But alhamdulillah, after finishing this simple session, you are halal. And even in the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are written among those people who are practicing ibadah. Because you know, according to that long tradition, that some people came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam complaining that the rich people have almost taken each and everything. ذهب أهل الدثور بالأجور وفي الرواية ذهب أهل الدثور بالدرجات العلى. A section of companions came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, the rich people have taken each and everything. They make sadaqah, they go for jihad, they do this. Until when the Prophet comforted them and said, وَفِي بِضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. Even your conjugal relationship with your wife, even your physical interaction with your wife or with your husband, that is also part of the sadaqah. What is bringing this about? It is this simple commitment. It is this simple session. This simple session, it is the one which is lifting the ban. It is the one which is lifting the veil. Before this session, there are certain restrictions. I cannot shake hands with you. I cannot hug you. I cannot kiss you. But after this session, that ban is lifted. The veil is lifted. You have a right to total enjoyment. You have a right to unlimited enjoyment except in areas which are restricted by law. Now, can you imagine how valuable, how strong this moment is? Finally, it is as a result of this kind of commitment that the children that you are bearing after are legitimate children. Any child that is sired, that is produced outside or before this kind of nikah, it is an illegitimate child. Some of those who have not produced children, they don't know the beauty of having Al-walad al-halal. You don't know the enjoyment that comes with a child who is halal. And you don't know the trauma, the stress of having a haram child before you. Wallahi, it is so stressful. One of our friends once called us for a small meeting, just a small interaction. And he told us, my dear children, young ones, you can do anything, but never allow a haram certificate to bear a haram certificate. Don't accept it. We didn't understand him until when he told us that a child who is illegitimate, you are carrying a certificate of haram. You are carrying it. And you know that session when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَوْمَ نَدْعُو كُلُّ أُنَاسٍ بِإِمَامِهِمْ. No, that's not the ayah I wanted. The ayah I wanted, اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. Read your own book. So an illegitimate child is a certificate that you are carrying. It is an evidence that you are carrying. You can only have an illegitimate child as far as Islamic law is concerned by doing this small session. So, much as it is little, much as it doesn't take a lot of time, but that is the strength that it carries. What is the implications of all what we have talked about? Number one, reflect about that session before you commit yourself to it. This is the emphasis that we have been making before. There is no reason for rushing. There is no reason why you are rushing. Sometimes people go into this commitment and they want to get out of it because they didn't give it time. That is the time that we have spent to tell you that Islamic law has certain steps. Choosing of the right person, doing this, proposing A, B, C, D, so that by the time you reach this session, you don't do it and regret it. Give it some good time. Number two, make some kind of psychological and mental preparation for it so that you avoid disappointments. You avoid frustrations to this moment. By the way, by the time you go for this session known as nikah, try as much as possible to be stress-free. I have seen some people in the mosque, when you are trying to join them, but the woman or the man is wearing a very gloomy face, as if it's a translation of Abasa wa Tawalla. As if, you know that verse whereby the Prophet ﷺ, Allah was addressing the Prophet Abasa wa Tawalla. He frowned, he changed his face. No, my dear. Be stress-free. Find some ways of diffusing stress and anger so that by the time you reach this session, we can see the smile, we can see the joy around yourself. That's what it means. Because you have come to sign a contract. Another implication is, take time, be part of those selecting special people to attend it. We have a challenge here. Don't allow each and every person to be a witness to this session. That is why sometimes we limit numbers in the mosque. Inshallah, our next session shall be on the wedding party. But one of the problems that we have made is that our wedding parties are full of people. When you look at them, you ask, where is the mercy of Allah in this wedding? Where is the rahmah in this wedding? We have entertained artists. We have entertained the so-called musicians. We have entertained people who have added on the hair and so on and so forth. My dear, where is the rahmah? What do you expect out of this? So unlike other sessions, the weddings, I don't know the introduction, make sure that people who attend this are people with whom they carry the message of rahmah. People who are selected, the mashayikh, the religious people, the good relatives, among others. you should also choose the best place and outfit for it. Because this is a great session in your life, please choose the best place where you want it to take place. Alhamdulillah, to a great extent, it takes place in mosque, which is good. But if you are not going to conclude it in the mosque, please choose the best place. I could prefer that it is done in your father's house. Because this is where you grow from. This is your home. And this session means that your father has been taking care of you. Now time has come for him to hand over the relationship to another man, and it has taken place in his own home. Another point here is that once you know how significant this commitment is, and this is a very important point, please respect that gentleman who accepted to be joined with you. I can assure it is not simple. I'm aware of people who play around with ladies, but when you tell them, why don't you make nikah? I say, Sheikh, give me some time. So respect that person who, after thinking a lot, after thinking about ABCD, he said, enough is enough. I am ready to be joined with Fatima in this marriage. Wallahi, respect that person. It is not easy. It's not about that people have money. We have seen very many people with money, they are rich, they are wealthy, but they are not ready for this commitment. We have seen people who have produced children from women, but you cannot call them to commit themselves on this, and you ask why. So this is how significant this session is. So please respect that man who accepted that commitment. Likewise, respect this woman who accepted this commitment. I'm aware of some young women who are not ready to commit themselves. You tell her that, why don't you go for nikah? I say, this might not be the right person. I'm still trying. I'm still making my chances. But when you see a particular young lady with her physical charm, with her good looking, with her beauty, saying that, come what may, come rain, come shine, among all people in this country, I have chosen Ahmad to be my husband. Mr. Ahmad, respect this woman. It is not because she didn't find someone else to take her. And by the way, you might have been on a long list. But out of that long list, not because you have a lot, not because you are